If you're watching this, I've probably been eaten by a gang of hungry unicorns. Or you've finished with your design process, you've designed 3 CDs, and you're ready to choose your favorite one and put it onto a label. This part is going to be very important, and depending on your design, this might be very important. The rest of it's just for show. You'll only need one of these, so this one can be shared. After thinking long and hard about the 3 designs that I created, I decided to settle with a cool skull dude. So as you notice, I'm using the center circle as part of my design. You want to keep your stuff big. Little details might get lost. Sometimes areas like this where you wind up with overlap might be tricky. If you don't like that, you can change it up. I'm going to leave it so I can try to figure this out. When you're done with this, I want you to use your pencil and you're going to figure out which areas are going to be the positive space. You can't have positive spaces next to positive spaces or negative spaces next to negative spaces. So this black is going to be the positive space. It's going to be the space that I draw in. If I feel like that nose is a little too small, I can change it because I need to remember that I am going to be cutting these out with scissors. I have my design planned out. Now the next part for me to do is to do the cutting. When you feel like your design is complete, make sure that you don't have negative space touching negative space or positive space touching positive space. So what I mean by that, right now for the most part it's taken care of. I have positive space, negative space, positive space, negative space, positive space, negative space. There's nothing really close together, except I do see one problem area, which is right here. I have negative space, line, negative space. It's right next to it. In order for this to come out right, I'm going to need to create more of a shape. I'm going to need to cut into it a little bit harder. So that there's a little bit of a cutout there. That's going to help my design to stick out, and it's going to make sure that, well, this part shows and you can tell the difference between the head and the tongue. I like to take the easy way first and just cut all the way around. You want to cut around this. You might need to use it later, so try not to cut into it. Alright, now I have something slightly smaller. It's easier for me to move around. The places that are white, your negative space, are the most important. Try not to cut into those too much. These areas of white are the ones that you're going to stick on. The areas that are black are not going to be used. I'm going to cut in to my negative space, and I cut around, Now I get to some of the trickier pieces. I'll take the tongue since it's the next one. It's pretty big. So you remember I created this shape here. I still see that line from the shape that I created. I'm going to make sure to cut that one. I'm going to leave the teeth where they are until I get the skull positioned on the CD. Okay, I have my CD. You want to check and make sure there aren't any super huge deep gouges in it. If there are a couple little scratches, that's okay. Remember, these aren't going to be played on our computer. They're just going to be for looks. That cool shiny part is going to be our negative space. It's that space that doesn't get painted. So that's all this shiny part. Anything that's covered up by the sticker is going to be that shiny part. So I'm going to start out and make sure that the whole of this goes right over the heart of that CD. Now all of this is sticker material. You might have to work for a second to get it apart. Kind of bend it back and forth a little bit until you get a little bit of that material pulling off. Once you have that, then it should be easy enough for you to peel and separate. See what happened with that eye? I told you didn't have to cut it out. It'll come off all on its own. And then I'll do my best to position it around. And then I'm pressing down and I'm making sure I had those two cuts. I had this little cut in, and then I had, I had my other one by the nose. So I had this one and that one, making sure that they're touching so that they don't get paint in the middle. It's looking pretty cool so far. Next, I have the tongue ready, but I can't effectively position it unless I have those teeth. I wanted to do the teeth one at a time because they're small pieces, and I needed that on to know where they go. I like to do those little chips at the bottom. It really makes it look like a tooth. You know? When I put this on, I want to make sure that I have space. So I'm keeping that little space, that little gap in between. Make sure it's secure, and then go on to the next one. after you have all of your stickers put onto your CD, then the only step that you really have after this is to spray paint and peel it off. So kind of looks like what I'll look like after I get eaten by those unicorns. Be careful, they're dangerous. And enjoy putting your negative and positive space onto your CD. I'll see you next time.